Hello student, this is Palla Darbari, your host, and you are watching Palla Darbari classes. In this video, we will discuss Indian Economic Development, Chapter 4, Poverty, Volume 2. In this video, we will see the three-dimensional approach for alleviating poverty, critical evaluation of poverty alleviation program, three-dimensional approach analysis, and the causes of poverty and measures to remove poverty. Firstly, we will discuss the three-dimensional approach for alleviating poverty. Government opted ways and means to solve the problem of poverty, and in this direction government opted the three-dimensional approach. Following are the three aspects of the approach. Number one, the trickle-down approach, or commonly called growth-oriented approach. Second step in this direction is poverty alleviation program, and the third is providing basic amenities. Let us see what is trickle-down approach or the growth-oriented approach. The trickle-down approach basically means that the best way to help the poor is to give money to the rich. If the money is given to the rich, then the rich will open up the business organization or expand the existing business organization. In both the cases, the job will be generated to the people. So by helping the rich, the poor will automatically be helped. So this is the way to help the poor indirectly. The benefit will eventually trickle down. It was assumed that the rapid growth due to industrialization and commercialization of agriculture will raise the overall standard and the quality of living in the country. Because of the industrialization, what happens? The condition of the rich becomes better, and by reviving the condition of the rich, the condition of the poor automatically get refined. Same thing happens in the case of the commercialization of the agriculture. The big farmers were benefited because of commercialization of agriculture. Because of the benefits or because of this benefit, the small farmers or the landless traders automatically get benefited. This approach did not turn into reality. The benefit of growth could not spread to the masses, and the gap between the rich and the poor has actually widened over the year. There has never been any school of the economy which believed in the efficiency of the trickle-down mode. Trickle-down approach was proposed or is being seen as the solution for the Pakistani ill economy under two of its military dispensation, first by Ayub Khan in the early 1962 and then under Musharraf almost 4 decades later. In both these cases, the GDP no doubt has grown, but the condition of the common people did not improve, or we didn't see any anticipation in the condition of the poor people. So this approach is a good approach, and it is a belief that by helping the rich, the poor people will be benefited, but the condition of the poor did not refined, did not get improved. In fact, the gap between the rich and the poor becomes widened. So the next way to find out the solution to the problem is poverty alleviation program. This approach aimed at income earning assets and employment generating opportunity. Through the poverty alleviation programs, government felt to remove the poverty from its very root is to provide employment or to generate employment among the people. If the employment will be generated, the problem of the poverty will be wiped out completely. To alleviate poverty from the economy, Indian government started various policies and programs. The basic motive of this program is to eliminate poverty. How? By generating employment opportunities for the people, as I told you. Some of the important poverty alleviation programs initiated by the government are as follows. Listen, short note can be asked on these programs. So we have to learn all the programs by heart. First program is Swर्ण Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana. I repeat, Swर्ण Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana. This program was launched in rural area in April 1999. This program emphasized on the establishment of small scale and micro enterprises in the rural area on an individual and collective basis. Such enterprises are called self-help groups. Under the Yojana, grants were forwarded in the form of loans and subsidies to the poor. The amount of the loan to be granted was fixed at 30% of the cost of the project for an individual and 50% of the cost of the project for the self-help groups. The expenditure on this scheme is to be shared by the central government and state government in a specific ratio. Under this scheme, approximately 27 lakh self-help groups have been formed till December 2007 and around 93 lakh Swarojgaris have been assisted. The next program is Sampoorn Gramin Rojgar Yojana. I repeat, Sampoorn Gramin Rojgar Yojana. This program was launched on September 1, 2001. The main objective of this Yojana was to provide employment opportunities to the workers with a review of regional economic and social development. Under this program, various infrastructure projects such as construction of road, well, trucks, etc. were undertaken. This particular Yojana target to generate employment for 100 crore man days of labor. Later on in 2006, this program was merged with the National Rural Employment Scheme or Manrega. Next program was National Food for Work program. This program was started in 2000-2001 with the objective of generating employment opportunities for unskilled labor concentrated in the drought affected state of Chhattisgarh, Gujarat, Himachal Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Odisha, Rajasthan, Maharashtra and Uttaranchal. This program provides food in exchange for work done by the labor. Next program is Swर्ण Jayanti Shahri Rojgar Yojana. This Yojana was launched in December 1997 by merging two Yojanas. Number 1, Nehru Rojgar Yojana, and number 2 is Prime Minister Integrated Urban Poverty Education Program. So this Yojana is the integration of two Yojana. One is Nehru Rojgar Yojana and the second one is Prime Minister Integrated Urban Poverty Education Programs. The objective of this Yojana is to provide self-employment and wage employment to the urban employed. Two objectives. Number 1, urban self-employed programs, urban wage employment programs. This program aimed at providing assistance to the underemployed and unemployed urban poor for setting up self-employment enterprises. Second, this program was launched with the motive of providing assistance to the poor urban women for setting up self-employment enterprises. Next program was Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Very important. Manrega was enacted in the year 2005. Its aim at enhancing the livelihood of the rural people by guaranteeing the adult member of each rural family 100 days of wage employment every year. This program facilitated rural development. How? By emphasizing on the dual objective of achieving development by developing rural infrastructure and simultaneously providing employment opportunities to the rural unskilled labor. Next program is Pradhan Mantri Rojgar Yojana. Pradhan Mantri's Rojgar Yojana aimed at providing employment to the educated unemployed. This scheme was expected to provide employment to more than 1 million educated youth by setting up 7 lakh micro enterprises. By 2003-07, approximately 30 lakh persons got employed under this scheme. Next is Pradhan Mantri Gram Uday Yojana. To improve the standard of living and quality of life in rural areas, Prime Minister Gram Uday Yojana was launched in the year 2001. This program includes 5 crucial areas: health, primary education, drinking water and road. Pradhan Mantri Gram Uday Yojana has the following 3 objectives. Number 1, Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, join the rural area from the urban area by developing pakka roads. Second is Pradhan Mantri Gram Awas Yojana, construct house and provide the pakka house to the villagers. The next is Pradhan Mantri Gramin Drinking Water Yojana, provide drinking water facilities to the urban poor. Next is minimum need programs. This program was launched during the 5th 5-year plan with the objective of raising the standard of living of the poor. It lays emphasis on primary education, adult education, water supply, rural road, etc. of the urban slums. This program was expected to raise the overall quality of the poorest sections of the society. Next is 20-point programs. A 20-point program was launched by the government on 14th Jan 82. That includes some important points which comes under it are: increase in the irrigation capacity, increase the production of pulses and oil seeds, extension of integrated rural development and national rural employment programs, fixation of ceiling of land holdings, minimum wages to agriculture workers, and many more. Now let us see the critical evaluation of poverty alleviation programs. Firstly, let us see the achievements. These programs brought down percentage of persons below the poverty line. Second achievement is wage rate have increased due to legislative measures taken by the government. So the achievement is, firstly, the number of the people below the poverty has reduced. Second is wage rate has increased. Third one is the 3-dimensional approach to alleviate poverty has been able to reduce poverty to some extent. I mean, only 2 achievements are there. Now let us see the shortcomings. First is improper planning and management. I mean, this poverty alleviation programs proved a failure. Why? Because planning was improper and the management was not there, because of which the result is not achieved. Next is more inclined toward the rich. Poverty alleviation programs were often influenced by the rich and the elite people to suit their motive at the cost of the need of the poor population. This program has benefited the rich people instead of the poor people. Next is difficult to reach. The benefit of poverty alleviation programs did not reach to the population living in the far affluent and the remote areas. Why? Because of lack of manpower. Next is lack of support. The program did not receive full support from the institutions such as bank, panchayat, etc. Next is lack of participation of the people. These programs lacked the participation of the local people, as these were largely government sponsored programs. Next is undue advantage of non-poor. The non-poor section of the population took undue advantages of these programs. Why? Because the definition of the poor is not clear. Since the definition of the poor is not clear, so mostly the non-poor people have availed the benefits of these programs. Let us see the third approach, that is providing basic amenities. This approach aims at providing basic amenities such as proper medical and healthcare facilities, better education, proper sanitation, etc. These basic amenities positively affect health, productivity, income earning opportunities, and thereby alleviate poverty. To achieve these objectives, efforts were made by the government to increase public expenditure on the social needs of the people. Let us see the three-dimensional approach analysis. The steps taken by the government for the alleviation of the poverty in the form of three-dimensional approach no doubt have been commendable. The number of the poor people below the poverty line no doubt has reduced. However, a thorough analysis of the approach gives the following conclusion. Number 1. Lack of basic amenities. Although there have been a reduction in the percentage of the absolute poor in some states, still the poor lack the basic amenities, literacy and nourishment. Second, insignificant change in the ownership of resources. There has been a significant change in the ownership of income earning assets and productive resources. Next is failure of land reforms. The land reforms initiated by the government did not show successful results except in the state of West Bengal and Kerala. Next is lack of capital and technology. Lack of capital and availability of easy credit, lack of modern technology, and poor access to information and marketing became the major bottleneck for the small production houses like cottage industries and other small industries. Next is improper implementation of programs. The improper implementation of poverty alleviation programs by ill-motivated and inadequately trained bureaucrats further worsen the situation. Next is corruption. Corruption along with the inclination toward the interest of elites lead to inefficient and misallocation of scarce resources. Now let us see the causes of poverty. The first reason behind the poverty is the rapid growth of population. When we are talking about the poverty is the condition under which the person is not in the position to meet out the livelihood. One of the reasons behind the poverty is rapid growth of population. Because of the rapid growth of population, the supply of the resources becomes scarce, and because of population the demand is increasing. As a result, the prices of the commodities are increasing and most of the people get deprived to get the access to the goods which they are demanding. So they are deprived with the basic necessities of life because the supply is less and demand is more. The reason is growth of population. Next is unemployment and indebtedness. Since the population is growing at a faster rate and the growth is not there, because of which the production business organizations are not absorbing the number of the people which they should absorb. The reason is lack of finance. Because of growth in population and not growth in organization, the number of the unemployed people is keep on increasing. Since the production houses are less, so supply is less and the demand is more because of the population. Because of which what happens, most of the people start taking loan from the banks and money lenders, because of which the debt percentage of the debt start increasing on them, and because of indebtedness they got trapped in the web trap of debt, and because of which they find it very difficult to come out from this web, and the conditions start deteriorating worst, start becoming worse and worse. The next reason is low rate of economic development. As I told you, the rate of development is very low because of which the business houses and businessman is not expanding the business, so the job is not being generated, because of which, because of lack of job, the poverty is spreading. The next is low education. Because of lack of income, people is not in the position to go to school, because of which the people becomes unskilled. People are left unskilled. Since the people, most of the people are unskilled, so they are not getting the job, and the poverty becoming worst. The next is inflationary pressure. Because of shortage of supply and the demand is more, the prices of the commodities start increasing up, because of which more and more people start becoming incompetent to meet out the livelihood now. The next is social factors. Because of casteism, because of backwardness, most of the people is being deprived to get the job. Since they are not getting the job, they are being totally deprived to get the job. They are unable, they are not in the position to support their livelihood. Next is high level of migration from the rural area. Since the job is not generating in the rural area, so more and more unemployed rural people start migrating to the urban area with the hope that they will find a better life over there. So because of the migration, the number of the unemployed in the urban area also start increasing up. The next is failure to implement land reforms. Because of the political insecurity, government stopped the land reforms in between, because of which the condition of the farmers left unimproved and the poverty is untouched. The next is capital deficiency. The government is not having the sufficient financial resources, because of which the job cannot be generated. Government cannot spend the money on government expenditure for the infrastructure development, because of which new job is not generating up. So these are some of the reasons because of which the poverty is popping up in the country. Now let us see all these points one by one. The first is rapid growth of population. On an average, around 70 million people are added every year to its population, which raise the demand for consumption of goods considerably. The rapid growth of population, particularly among the poor, is responsible for the problem of poverty in India. Next is unemployment and indebtedness. With near about 28 million unemployed people, India is in the grip of chronic unemployment and underemployment. It leads to lower output and hence low income and indebtedness. The next is low rate of economic development. Low rate of economic development is a very important factor that has led to poverty. Remember, low rate of economic development implies low per capita income, which implies a low standard of living. The low growth rate of per capita income has tended to sustain poverty. The next is low education. Another major causes of poverty is the low level of education of the poor. Poor people are illiterate or semi-educated, and therefore they can do only low paid jobs. The next is inflationary pressure. The steep and continuous rise in prices, particularly of essential commodities, has added to the miseries of the poor. The sharp rise in price has led to a fall in the real income of fixed and low income earners, and this led to a fall in their purchasing power, and thus in turn has been a very low standard of living. The next is social factor. Various social factors like caste system, joint family systems, religious faith, etc. had hindered the process of economic growth. Next is higher level of migration from rural area. It has been observed that due to large migration of people from rural area to the urban area in search of jobs, there has been a significant rise in urban poverty. Next is failure to implement land reforms. Due to lack of political will, land reforms have been efficiently implemented. It has resulted in more poverty in rural areas. Next is capital deficiency. Capital formation is a very important factor that lead to economic growth and has a fall in poverty. In India, capital deficiency exists. It results in low production capacity and poverty. Now let us see the measures which the government has opted to remove poverty. The first is speeding the pace of economic growth. The government feels that somehow if through the infrastructure development or the government expenditure, if somehow the government increases the rate of or the pace of economic growth, the poverty can be removed. Because of the economic growth, new jobs will be generated. When the new job will be generated, more and more people will be employed, they will get the money, and with the money, the problem of poverty will be solved. Next is reducing inequality of income through fiscal and legislative measures. Government knows because of the gap between rich and poor, the condition of the poor is impossible to be revived. So government feels that by imposing taxations on the rich and by providing the help through the transfer payment and subsidies to the poor, the condition of the poor can be improved and the problem of the poverty can be removed. The next is controlling population. Government feels that if somehow the population will be controlled, the demand will fall down, and with the fall in demand and when the demand becomes equal to supply, the problems of inflation will be solved and more people then will be in the position to meet out the basic requirement of life. The next is controlling infrastructure. Through the fiscal and the monetary policy, government frame policies to check the inflation, and once the problem of the inflation will be solved, then the people will not be deprived to meet out the basic requirement of life. The next is reducing unemployment. By generating job, by improving the earning capacity of the people, the poverty can be solved. Now let us see all the measures in detail. The first is speeding the pace of economic growth. The problem of poverty can be solved by accelerating the pace of economic growth. And remember, higher economic growth creates new employment and income earning opportunities. Efforts should be made to incorporate new and modern techniques of production. Next is reducing inequality of income through fiscal and legislative measures. In addition to rapid economic growth, it is essential to ensure that the increased income does not remain concentrated in a few hands. This can be achieved by means of legislative and fiscal measures such as Minimum Wages Act, Minimum Support Price, etc. Such measures raise the earning capacity of the people and increase their standard of living. Next is controlling population. Higher population growth rate offsets the benefit of higher economic growth rate. Even when the level of national income is high, the per capita income will remain low if the population growth rate is high. Thus, to combat poverty, it becomes essential to control the population growth rate. Next is controlling inflation. Poor are worse hit by raising prices. Rising prices reduces the purchasing power and make it difficult for the poor to purchase even the basic necessities. To reduce poverty, steps must be taken to ensure stability of the prices. Twofold methodology can be adopted for price stability. Number one, by increasing the production of goods and services. Second, open up the fair price shops. The last point is reducing unemployment. Unemployment is one of the major causes of poverty. Steps must be taken to eradicate unemployment. We know that India being a labor abundant country, one of the measures to increase unemployment can be to adopt labor intensive techniques of production. Similarly, to absorb labor in rural areas, cottage and small scale industries should be encouraged. Self-help group should be encouraged in rural areas. That's all I have in this video. Thanks for watching. God bless you all. Dear viewers, if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe the channel and don't forget to press the bell icon so that whenever I upload the new video, you get the notification.